All right. Hello, everyone. I am your co-host, Guy. I'm joined with my fellow host, Ashley, and our special guest today is Spike. We're excited to host this for you and get jumping in. Here we go. Ashley.
Hey Guy, nice to be here. I'm ready to chat with our guest that we're going to have on here. I'm so excited to have our first guest be Spike, a staff member at Operation Red Wings Foundation. This podcast is all about exploring that unseen side of the lives of veterans, and we really want to deep dive into their stories, experiences, and the extraordinary challenges they faced on their paths to recovery and healing. So Spike, you're in the hot seat today. Welcome.
Hey, glad to be here. Appreciate y'all having me on the very first podcast.
So we promise we're going to take it easy on you. So before we dive in, just a little fun question for you. What, if any, superpower would you want to have?
Superpower. Wow. Okay. How about time travel? I think time travel would be a great one because then, you can go back, check out some history, now that there's some, maybe I go back to an era, get to see some of the cool muscle cars that when they first came out. I mean, there's so many different things, right? But yeah, I think time travel would be one.
Mike, I don't know, man. I don't want to relive some of those parties. And yeah, since we're not focused on me, we're going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Say, I don't know what time I'd go back to. There's so many to choose from. And I wouldn't want to mess anything up, that space-time continuum.
Oh, nice. Like Back to the Future, right? Like, can't run into yourself, can't place any bets. I'd fail that one.
You have to write out these rules, right, that you have to adhere to.
Yeah.
Not that I've thought about this before, but, write out these rules. And then from there, you decide, what is you going to do? And you're like, can't do that because, that's one of the rules that we can't interfere with. So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about our guest today, Spike Garcia, a 26-year-old veteran. He has currently continued to participate in the military and veteran community as donor relations for Operation Red Wings, deployed on every major deployment with the 111th Fighter Squadron to include Operation Southern Watch at Prince Sultan Air Base, Saudi Arabia, and Anaconda Balad, Iraq, in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. I've got that passport stamp.
Right here too, brother.
He has been an advocate. Yeah, there we go. He's been an advocate for military veterans and their families for over 20 years. Thank you, sir. And has served on several veteran service organizations and their boards, right? Spike is continuing to serve veterans and service members, as I said, director of donations for Operation Red Wing. So, if you're going to get hit with some extra taxes, call Spike. Let's join me and Ashley in a great welcome for John Spike Garcia.
Yes. Quite the bio. I heard when we were getting your bio, Spike, that it was 4 pages long. I'm sure it was hard to narrow it down. Your 26 years of accomplishments.
That's a short bio.
But so before we delve deeper into your journey, Spike, there's something I'm sure our listeners are dying to know where Spike, the nickname, came from. So tell us a little bit more about it. And I actually know this, though. I'm excited to hear again.
Okay, so.
Ooh. Don't spoil it. I have no idea.
The deal. You know volleyball, when you come up and you spike the ball, right? You jump up and you spike the ball, right? That's not it. I didn't get it that way. It's actually, it has to do with my former commander with the 111 Fighter Squadron. I was introducing him. It was family day. I was introducing to my dad and my 2 sisters. And I was like, we're in the hallway. And I said, he's the commander of the operations group, which means that he's in charge of all the pilots and the jets and enlisted. And they were literally starting to go to position of tension, just standing there. And my commander, he's just so smooth. The first thing he said was, y'all call him Spike because we call him Spike. And they busted out laughing, right? He knows how to keep the mood, festive. And I was like, oh my God, they have never called me Spike. But once he named me, that was it. It has to do with my hair because it spikes up. So that's how I got my call sign, and that was in the late '80s. So I've had the call sign for some time now.
That's a solid background story, and I see you haven't given up the nickname, and you certainly haven't.
No,
changed the
actually, it's a
hairdo,
little
right?
long right now. I should have got the haircut before the podcast, but it does not matter what I do. I've had kids come up to me, who have got spiked hair, and you can see so much, gel in their hair to get it, spiked, and you're like, how do you do it? I'm just like, natural ability. It's kind of like mic drop, and I just walk away, and they're like, oh.
There it is. Yeah, for sure. So I gave an incredibly short, snippet of your bio. So, for our guests, there's some unseen journey in your history there. What are some career highlights you kind of want to throw out that I might have, just jumped right
I would say
past?
this. There are several that stand out. In my first 3 years, I was actually active duty Army. And then when I came back to Houston, then I switched to the Air National Guard, and we were from F4s, F-16s to Predators at the time. But when I was in the Army, this is when the wall was still up, and I actually got the briefings and took the duty train to go through East Germany to Berlin. And I actually went back and forth from Berlin every day for 8 days. And I had to go through Checkpoint Charlie. And I had the form that was actually in Russian and English because we didn't recognize the GDR at the time, German Democratic Republic. And so you have to be out by midnight every night, or they'll come in and get you. But I had total access to the city, and I was on a bridge, and there was a senior, he was a much older gentleman walking very slow, and he had a cane. And as we approached each other, I realized he was Jewish because he still wore the Star of David on his shirt. And when we got to each other, he had the long beard. He stopped and he saluted me. And I realized that it wasn't saluting me, it was saluting the uniform who, helped, win War II. So that was very significant. Some of the others have to do with 9/11. On 9/11, our F-16s were the one that that picked up Air Force One, President G.W. Bush, in Louisiana, and we provided fighter escort that day, and I was on duty that day. Actually, I was in my civilian job, then went in after the second tower had been bombed because, I've felt that we were at war. So I reported for duty, and we're loading up all of our jets, and we're launching, and they didn't know who the target was, or who they were going to, provide escort in. And when they came across with a Secret Service code name for Air Force One, which is Angel Flight, they had never heard of it because obviously it's classified. And then they realized that, they got the order that there was a boundary around Air Force One, which is classified, but no aircraft could get within that boundary of Air Force One. And then several months later, I got to meet President Bush and Laura Bush and Condoleezza Rice at the footsteps of Air Force One, and he came through, shook our hands, and then he recounted 9/11 to us that day. So
that's incredible.
Like when you were first talking about 9/11, like I just got like the chill waves, Really cool story too about over in Europe. So I never got to go visit or see the wall or anything. My sister actually got to study overseas, came back with a little small piece. You didn't happen to bring back
the
a
wall
souvenir, did
was
you?
still up whenever I crossed. We're talking about in 1986.
Okay.
So that's why I have to enter and exit through Checkpoint Charlie every day in my Class A uniform. And I did try, and here's the thing, most people may not be aware of. The wall is, I think it was at the time, it was 6 feet inside the east, so that if they needed to work on it on the side that faces the west, they were still on the property of East Germany. But there was a lot of confetti, and it was professionals that would do that. But on the inside, pristine, not touched. And I try to kind of walk my way to to the wall so I can touch it from the inside. And there's towers with these copper tinted windows. And, sure enough, there are some, Russians that came out, or guards, like telling me get away from the wall. And I try to act like Brandenburg Gate. I'm trying to find Brandenburg Gate, And,
restroom? Is the bathroom?
Yeah. That's awesome. Ashley, I'm hogging it all. What's on your mind?
It's so cool to hear. I mean, that's some real history, a real part of history, and being there even when the wall was still up. I mean, just thinking of that, the wall was still up. I think that's just an incredible part of history. I did get to visit Berlin and when the wall was down, and I think I do have a piece of the wall somewhere, Guy. Yeah, from a little touristy shop. But it kind of makes me sad that, Spike, when you were there, the wall was up and it was, very historical and reverent, so much reverence to it, where when I saw it, it was really kind of touristy. Checkpoint Charlie, it was kind of, I don't know. So it's really cool to hear your point of view from that. So, wow. So much life in your 26 years of service. So tell us a little bit about your transition out of the military. What's it like getting out of the Air Force after 26 years? What are your highs, your lows? What would you do differently, maybe?
Well, I was in a very unique situation because being in the National Guard, I actually had a civilian job. And so I actually worked 20 years at UPS and retired after 20 years in management. But I was doing both simultaneously. So the civilian sector was not as new as somebody who had served 26 years only in the military, and so for me, I was familiar with the civilian sector, and that helped with my transition. In addition to that, I have made a lot of contacts with our unit, with the F-16s. We're the high profile unit, of all the groups on base. So anytime there are VIPs, they bring them to where we are. So I was able to start my networking back then, and so there still was that transition piece because of the resume or the way that when you interact with people, in the military, it is everybody's working towards the mission.
Mm-hmm.
In the civilian, you can have it where everybody's working to their individual goals that, should be supporting the mission, but may not be as collaborative as it is in the military. So that is where, that was still something that even after working at UPS for 20 years, it did provide that, some roadblocks there that you had to overcome. I became a project manager in a oil and gas service provider company, and I did that for 5 years until oil tanked, and then there was these massive layoffs that occurred, and then from there, that is when I had a decision to make in regards to, okay, what is the path forward here? And I was very blessed that I actually got the call from the foundation to come in and interview for the position, and it had to do with my networking as well, and contacts. But I would say this, going back, looking and say, what is it I will do differently? Mm-hmm. Is, understand that, they're veteran ready companies, but that doesn't mean they're veteran friendly, right? Mm-hmm. So the thing is this, they may be ready, saying we will hire them, but once they do have them, what do they do? Do they have some type of onboarding where they connect them with another veteran? Those are some of the things that I did help try to do that with the company I work for. And I've actually worked with a couple Fortune 500 companies to advise them how to do that as well. But that is something that, I wish that we had that was in place that could have helped me.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a cool idea, thinking about, all us veterans, right? Like in the service, you would always have that mentor, right? You would always have that and Spike, you were a non-commissioned officer, you would always have that expert, and you could go to them and say, hey, what do I need to do to get better or progress my career? And thinking about porting over that mentorship model into the civilian workspace to help veterans as they transition, I think it's awesome. I think it's a great idea. Yeah. All right, now let's write a book and go make millions.
And help all the veterans.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. So jumping, Spike, a little bit more into your unseen journey, motivation being the topic. I'm curious, you were in the civilian workforce, you did your 26 years of service, right? You've done all those things, and you found your way onto a couple different boards, donor relations for Operation Red Wings currently. What was the drive? Like, where did that internal push come from to not just say, like, I see a need, however, to go one step forward and say, I see a need and I'm going to do something about it?
I think it goes back to going back all the way to high school. I was a lieutenant governor in Key Club for my junior and senior year, and had 400 kids that I was responsible for. And at the time, I was in Navasota, Texas, which is a very small town. So it was the other 4 schools were in 4 different cities. And so, I was responsible to go meet with them and help them with their programs, et cetera. And so I started that volunteer at an early age, and then it continued in the military. And then as I rose in rank, what I would tell my airmen was there's really 3 areas you need to be focusing on. One is your development, your support of the mission as far as what your job is. Mm-hmm. And then what do you do to give back to your community?
Ooh.
And so to me, that was, I would look at those 3 areas and say that those are the 3 areas that we all should be focusing on. So I was trying to develop my airmen so that they would also look at that and then give back. I said, because it is one of the most rewarding things. You don't get paid for it, but it is one of the most rewarding things you can do. So I continue to do that. And one of the things I do as a volunteer is I'm able to get military and veterans recognized at major sporting events here in Houston. And, someone asked me if I could quantify the number I've had at different events. And looking back, I'm like, you know what? It's well over 10,000 that I have been able to provide unique opportunities, being honored on the court at the NBA basketball, the NCAA championship game, so many different arenas, sporting events, as far as footballs, soccer, whatever it is, that I've been able to be that liaison to give them that opportunity so that others can say thank you to them, because either they've served or they're currently serving. It is one way to say, hey, the community stands behind you and want to say thank you to you and your family.
Man, I love that, Spike. I love that. And let me tell you, because I used to live in the Houston area, as you know, Spike. Mm-hmm. And I joined the veteran service world about 10 years ago. And I learned very quickly, you need to get to know Spike Garcia. Because if you're in the veteran world and you don't know Spike, then you don't really know much. And that is what I think makes you such an awesome director of donor relations, because you not only know the playing field, know the pulse on what veterans' needs are, not only in the greater Houston area, but just in general for veterans all over the country. So how does that equate over to your role as the director of donor relations with Operation Red Foundation?
I say that my volunteer interacts with my day job. So what I'm doing to help recognize veterans or give them, once in a lifetime opportunities. Those things when you're helping them, because you're doing this to help others, as I look at it as being a servant leader, then others are aware of that and they're like, that's incredible, and then we transition to what my day job is. and how I continue to serve my community and my fellow veterans. And to me, it's I say I have found my purpose in life, and that is to serve our military and our veterans and their families.
It almost seems like it's not even work, right? Like it's one of those, what's that saying? You
If you find something that you love, then you're not working another day in your life.
Yes, and I think you've succeeded in that. Plus your 2 retirement checks, by the way. Can't skip that one.
There's as you two are both kind of like talking about all that, there's a really cool book, 5 Levels of Leadership. Spike, you might have heard of it. And the top level is called Zenith, right? Like where you're now out and people are trying to live a life like yours, not because of what you've done for them, however, because of everything that you've done as a total package. So Spike talking about like getting to go to a basketball game and receive some accolades. I think that's really cool. All right. So Ashley, listening to Spike talk about his history in service and community, and listening to you mention that you've already been in it for 10 years. I'm the puppy, 3 years, working strong. What's your motivation, right? This is the unseen journey. You're my co-host. What's your motivation back there?
I love it, Guy. Put me on the spot. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so here's the thing. So working as a veteran in the veteran service world, it gives me it's my purpose for helping not only the other veterans that I serve, but myself. It is a secret little subliminal hidden trick there that it helps me. It gives me purpose. It helps me, sleep at the end of the day and feel fulfilled with what I'm doing. And then also learning the tricks of the trade so that I can help myself, help my husband, help the veterans in my community. And it does come very naturally if you just get out and serve in your community. I'm very involved with the VFW, with the American Legion, serving on a couple different boards for veteran organizations. And it comes so naturally because you just get to find people who also want to do that work and who are like-minded. And it really, I'm a big, firm believer in positivity breeds positivity. So if you surround yourself with people who want to help and people who are doing good things, it's a win-win. And my favorite thing to say in the veteran service world is there's no shortage of resources. There's a shortage of veterans accessing those resources. And I'm sure you guys can agree, it's our mission to spread the word of what's available because there's plenty of people out here who want to help veterans.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 key things that I totally love that you said in there, right? So like Oprah Winfrey, right? Probably heard of her. So she has this segment that she does with Brene Brown, right? And one of the things she says is you've got to find your cabinet people, right? The people that you're willing to put in your cabinet because when you need help, when things are going rough, those are the people you reach out for, right? And like you said, when you start to jump into community service and the veteran service world, like you find those people, like people like Spike, our guest today, right? And then the other thing you said is, you just kind of got to get started, right? You just got to get out there and find your way. So Spike, I'm coming back over to you, brother.
Okay.
How can people watching, listening to this podcast, how can they come to a retreat at Operation Red Wing Foundation and or get involved? Help us out here. How do they get started, as Ashley said?
Well, first of all, I'm sure that there's going to be a place that will have the website embedded into this recording here. But, the thing is ORW foundation.org is our website. And from there, you can find so much information. You can sign up for our monthly newsletter, which I highly recommend. There's so much great information. There are testimonials, events that are coming up. Keeps you updated on what's going on with what we're doing with Operation Red Wings Foundation. And then those participants, those veterans, those success stories, they're amazing. There's a email there, retreat at orwfoundation.org. You can send an email in, and then from there you'll be contacted. And next thing you know, you're going to have a date whenever you're going to be able to go to a program. Want to know what's expected? What you think, or excuse me, it'll give you information on what to expect during a retreat. What is that course curriculum? That's great information.
That's so important.
The different types of programs that are available. The individual veteran, the spouse, the couples, the family. And, are you unsure are you suffering from any of the symptoms? There's a survey that you can take and read that and say, yes, I am. Okay, you're eligible, because we do not require an intake or a diagnosis. So the key is that you either have served or currently serving, and it doesn't matter which era it is. So and then there's, if you want to put on an event, there's information there that you can fill out, and then we'll contact you. And if you need help with some ideas, I can do that. I can help you. I think I know what we would like to do. That's something that I like to do, brainstorm with them and help them with that development process.
Yeah, it's like I'm still hopeful, that we find a donor to build us a house in Hawaii, so that my wife Kelly and I go out there. We'll maintain the house and we'll run the couples retreats. Totally unselfish. I don't know if someone's out there listening. I'll sacrifice. I'll move my family to Hawaii. We'll do it. We'll do it for the community, right?
Oh, so we don't have to worry about paying for airfare. You just move. Okay.
No, yeah, totally.
Hey, there's a lot of veterans in Hawaii. We could find them. There's VFW posts in Hawaii. I mean, we got it.
Look at this. We're there. So if you're that donor, come see Spike, right? I appreciate your time, Spike, and thanks so much for sticking with me, Ashley. I think where I kind of curious is, you said your superpower would be time travel, right?
Yes.
So if I think about going back and telling my younger self, like, that one piece of information, that like nugget, right? For me, I think it would just be like, stay alive and don't spend so much money, right? Just something simple. I don't know. I'm just curious though, like, perhaps you have something, maybe a little bit better that can translate across our whole audience. So what would your big takeaway? You travel back in time, right? We'll pretend like, the rule allowed you to go like distill that one piece of information to your younger self with your new superpower. What would it be? What would you tell your younger self?
That's that one. I would have to say, believe in yourself, right? Because there's so many things that we are successful at and we become skilled at, but no matter what, there was always day one for us. Right. Day one that you joined the military, day one that you went on deployment, for my friends that, are in the civilian world, day one that they joined their job, day one in school, whatever that is, there's a lot of apprehensions. There's, you have confidence, but at the same time, can you do it? I mean, I'm sure, all of that, it affects everyone. And if you go back and you say, you know what, have the confidence. There's a reason why I'm here.
Oh.
And from here, I think that, listening and building your network, and also, having the right group of friends that will help you, succeed. And you never know where that will take you. So,
you never know. And look at, here you are, 5 years strong, going on with Operation Red Wings Foundation. And I know that's a testament to the programs we offer. You know how awesome it is and life-changing. I know I've been through a retreat. I know you've been through a retreat, and that's why we're here. Saving lives every day.
And that's the thing about it. I mean, I've had a personal friend of mine who very well connected in the veteran community, and then he kind of just dropped off, and then he called me one day and he goes, "Hey, I know y'all been waiting for me to send my information in, my DD-214. I applied, but I went through my Survive Day. I recently went through the divorce." He goes, "So it wasn't y'all, it was me." He goes, "But I'm ready now. I'm ready." I said, "I'll be your battle buddy. I'll help you, make sure we get you in." And we were very fortunate that weekend there was an opening. So he went, and not only did he share this with, the counselors, but sent emails and then called me and goes, that was life changing. So
that's what we love to hear.
It is making a
that is
difference.
exactly what we love to hear. So, wow. So can you believe we're already at the end of our podcast? I feel like we could just keep going and going. But thank you so much, Spike, for being here today. Thank you for your service to our country, both in the military, especially the Army side of you, right, Guy? I mean, come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then also thank you for your service as a postal worker. I mean, I always tell postmen too. I'm like, thank you for your service because we got to get our mail.
UPS, a little bit different than the post office, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the brown trucks. The brown trucks.
Okay. So that's okay.
It doesn't matter when it's like holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas. You could be in the brown UPS truck. You could be in the white USPS truck.
Oh, yeah.
Those people wanting their packages, they're coming for you, bro.
Oh, yeah. We want them. We want them. And lastly, most importantly, thank you for your continued service with Operation Red Wings Foundation. We love having you on. It's an honor to be on the team with you, Spike.
Well, I feel the same way. And let me tell you, to me, again, as I said, I'm found my passion in life, which is to continue to serve veterans. And this is one of the best ways that I have been able to do that is, serving along some great people, and to help our veterans, with Operation Red Wings Foundation. So it is a blessing for me as well. Thank you.
That's awesome. So for all our listeners out there, thank you on behalf of Ashley, myself, our first guest, Spike, for listening or watching the Unseen Journey podcast with us. Do me a favor. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share. Let's get it out there, right? We want you back. We want to continue to have lots of listeners and followers. If you've got an inspiring story, reach out. Who knows? Maybe we can have you on as a guest. If you want more information about Operation Red Wings, somewhere there's going to be a link. Jump on the link. And if you're nervous about taking the hardest step, which is getting on that airplane and showing up or driving to a retreat, reach out to us, right?
Oh, yeah.
All of us who lead these retreats, like Ashley and myself, we're all combat veterans. We all have been around veteran communities, and we all have families. So we'll be happy to help you and ease any of those nerves. Like Spike said, he helped his buddy get into that first retreat, and it was life-changing and saved his life. So again, on behalf of ORW, the crew here from Unseen Journey, thank you so much. And stay tuned. We'll see you again soon.
Yes.